Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. And I know we've got some folks I can't see on Facebook, but I want to thank you all for your time today, especially as we're getting into what feels like summertime and our businesses are picking up. So I know that our time is incredibly valuable. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come in and share a little bit about today's topic. So first and foremost, hello, my name is Karen Nosal. I am the Director of Technology and Agent Services, which is only like the world's longest title for like, I get to help people with their models and systems and like talk about some cool tech while I do it. And one of those free tools that's available to us is Google My Business, not a real estate specific tool, and one that's totally free. And I want to go over today a little bit about what it is, why we should absolutely all be using it, and how we can utilize it at a high level with minimal effort to drive us business. So let's get started. At any time, if I am guilty of moving too quick, because that's a problem I have, feel free to stop me. I can go back over anything, but we'll get right into it. So let me go ahead here. I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Everyone's on board with me here, seeing my screen. Beautiful Google Business logo. Thank you. So again, a little bit about me. I am up in Minnesota. We like to talk about weather here. We had snow a week ago. Luckily, it has all melted finally, so I am so thankful for some good weather. Going into Google My Business and why we should use it. So I've been with Keller Williams for 4 years, and I started off actually as a director of first impressions. And because I was the youngest person in our office by about 20 years, it was assumed that I knew about tech. It's half true. And I would get a question about how do I end up on the front page of Google? Super common question. I want people who search real estate agents in an area to see me. And one of the easiest ways to get your information in front of potential clients is through Google My Business. And you might say, well, what is it? How does that work? Well, how do we as consumers, we're putting ourselves in our clients' shoes, how do we go about finding a new restaurant or a new salon or a new auto mechanic? We're often going to Google, right? How many of us have said, hey, Google, restaurant near me, Chinese food, right? I'm not alone. And you look up and the first chunk of your Google page, oftentimes on your phone, looks like a little applet that has a couple of different options. When you click on one, it takes you to what is their Google Business page. It is their kind of applet that shows hours, their reviews, any photos of their food, because like that's kind of important. If I see a business with no reviews, their hours aren't accurate, there's no phone number, no website, I am less likely to go to that business, correct? Get head nods. Thanks, Tanya. You're the one with the camera on, so I'm picking on you today. But we're right, so we want to make sure we find a place, a restaurant, a salon, mechanic shop that has some reviews. I want to see some photos of them. I want to know that people like to work with this person, this business. So that's our goal today, to make sure that we have a Google Business page, which creates that applet for our potential future consumers, that they can find, that it has accurate information, and that we utilize it at a high level. So we're going to go through that process. And again, if at any time I go too quick, I skip over something, please stop me and bring me back. So first step first, how do we set up a Google Business page? So it's actually pretty straightforward. You will be going to google.com/business. Pretty simple. If you are, say, on Google, the way you would normally go to say get to your Gmail account, there's a Google Business button there as well. But I like just google.com/business. It's going to take you to a page that looks just like this. It has a sign-in button. If you're not already signed into an account you have. If you do not have one, you'll see this Manage Now. That's what you're going to click to go ahead and set up your Google Business page. It's going to ask for you to fill out some information. The first being the name of your business. We want to do this through using your Google account. You can use your @KW email. And yet, I recommend using a personal email account. Now, with this, please note you can only have one Google Business page per email. So you may see I've got a couple of tabs open here. I have 3 email accounts that manage 3 business pages. One is an adorable arts and photography business I'm pretending like I know how to run. I don't. Another one is our local VFW page that I am the president of. I manage this page, as well as our local one for our Keller Williams office here in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. I have to have 3 separate emails to manage each of these. You can't use the same one for each page. So be aware of whatever email you're using is going to be tied to that one business page. We also want to make sure you're naming it appropriately so people can find you when they're searching for you. I recommend first name, last name, or if you have a team, let's say I am the Nosal real estate team, I would put Nosal real estate team. I am an individual, so I would just do Kara Nosal. Realtor with the R, a note. The realtor with an R is only if you are an NAR member. I can't speak for the Maryland area. I'm imagining that your MLSs are a part of local associations automatically, but some states that's not a thing. So just to know, the realtor with an R is only if you are a local, state, and national association of realtors member. Your brokerage. So for us here, that's Keller Williams Realty Professionals. And then making sure that you just have that clear. So I've got a little screenshot bottom right of our broker's account, which is him and his wife, Tom Verhulst and Karen Zell. That's their team, Keller Williams Realty Professionals. They chose not to have the realtor with an R, not a required part, but if you are, definitely go ahead and add that in here, and I'll make sure to drop in the resources to have Melissa share out with you. I have a link to the NAR's Internet Advertising Policy. You want to make sure that you're not putting anything in there that you shouldn't. Things like, again, the realtor, if you're not a member, a note of like adding keywords into your name, like your favorite realtor, that can be misleading if that's not your team name. So you want to make sure that we're following those legal pieces because no one wants to get in trouble for something that's a free tool, right? So I have that in there. I'll make sure that that gets included with some of those resources for you. Next up, I lost my own sheet here, pardon me. We want to make sure that it's going to ask you to fill out a handful of fields. Now it's important, like I mentioned earlier, if we're looking up a restaurant, if we're looking up a salon, and they're missing some of these items, you're going to be less likely to use them. So we want to think about future clients or future would-be clients looking us up and wanting to reach out to us, because if our info is not there, we're less likely to have them connect with us. So first name, last name, brokerage, there's going to be separate fields for these. A brick and mortar address, something with Google My Business. We know that we are out and about on the go all the time serving different areas. To have a Google business page, they're going to mail you a postcard to prove that you are a business in a location. So you do need to have a brick and mortar address, whether that's your market center address, your business center, if you have any of those, if you're a mega agent office, your closest location is the address that you're going to want to use. I recommend not putting your personal home address because when people search for you, they're going to get your home address. And we love our clients, but we're not inviting them over for dinner unannounced, right? So brick and mortar address that a card is going to be mailed to you for. It's going to ask you though, in the description, it's going to give you an option to put service areas. This is what I like to use to expand. I may be based out of Fergus Falls, Minnesota, but I serve Otter Tail County, I serve Grant County, I serve the Greater Lakes area. So I have a list of all of the different areas that I will travel to service. If you want to be really big and wide, you can also just put the state that you service, the entire state that you're in. If you're an agent who is licensed in multiple states, go ahead and put multiple states in there. Just make sure that your clients know everywhere that you can help them in. The realtor with an R, if you're an NAR member, there's going to be a note for your office number. There, I do recommend putting your cell phone number. If people are online and they're finding us, they're saying, that Kara lady, she sure looks like she knows what she's doing. I want to call her up for some real estate. I want them to call me versus my office. Not that I don't love my office, but if they've already found me, I want to capture that lead. So go ahead, cell phone number, a Google Voice number can be a great one here too if you're looking to screen your calls so you're not getting scam calls. Your website, so for me, karennosal.kw.com. If someone's not ready to reach out to me directly yet, I want to make sure that they can find more information about me. So maybe linking my about page on my website would be a great option here. Last but not least, we are not quite a normal business for our hours, right? We do oftentimes work some on hours, an early morning here, a super late Sunday here. And yet for your hours, I recommend putting in your average hours that you choose to work in. When you're setting expectations with your clients and you say, I would love to work, I work 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can reach me during those hours, but if you send me at 2 a.m., oh my gosh, look at this new house that hit the market. You maybe don't want them calling you yourself. Call you in the morning. I recommend putting your can be reached at hours here. The reason I say that is for the person who it's a Sunday night, it's 2 in the morning, and they're searching for homes. They're like, gosh, I really want to move. When they search for realtors in their area, if you have your hours as always open, it will prompt them to call you. I love it, but I don't want to call at 2 in the morning. To each their own though. So I do recommend putting in your hours of operation that you would prefer. Any questions so far on some of our really basic info here? Easy peasy. I love it. Let's keep it simple. A note about your page's info. If you skip any of these steps, if you don't put in hours, you don't put in your phone number, you will lose your high ranking of being pulled first over someone else's search when someone searches Maryland realtors, Keller Williams realtor in this area. If you don't have the info, Google will put you lower down on the priority list to pull you. Secondly, and this one is probably my most important reason why we want to have our information as correct as possible. On Google, if you're somebody who normally recommends updates to local business pages, or you're reviewing pages regularly, Google will prompt you to answer some quick questions and correct information on someone's page if it's not accurate, or if Google thinks it's not complete. So if I don't put my hours in there, and I go in, I've got a local person who is a Google review person, it will prompt them to put in what they believe my hours to be. And if I don't correct that, Google will make that change for me. So if I'm not in here double checking my page for accuracy, some cute little 13-year-old kid could update that my page that I'm open from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. 6 days a week and never anytime else. So is that a little over the top? Yes. Does it happen though? Also yes. So for a few extra steps to really ensure that our page is complete, we protect our information about our business. If something does get changed on your Google page, Google will let you know. When you're looking at your Google business page, it will highlight the different pieces by a certain color. So anything that's just regular black, that's information, you put your information in. That's everything that you set. Orange, someone else has been in there, poking around. We've made some changes. We've deleted some things. We've added some things. These are going to be things that you're going to want to look for when you are setting time in your calendar to once a month, once every other month, to come back and look at your business page for accuracy. Has anything changed? Do you have a new phone number? Do you want to direct to a different page on your website? Making sure that you're intentional about coming back to look at it. This is not entirely a set it and forget it tool. It is important to have it set up. And if you don't have one set up, that's better than not at all. And if you're going to do it, give yourself 10 minutes a month to go and double check that your information is correct and that you're posting some updates. Speaking of updates, when you go in, this is about what that page is going to look like. You're going to have some very simple pencil marks to make changes to your address, to your location, your service areas, hours, store code. I never added a store code for KW stuff. I know we have market center numbers, and in the about 47 pages I have helped set up, we've skipped that. The store codes start to make it so that you have to verify with Keller Williams International that you're the owner of like a market center. So skip that. It's one of the only things I'm going to tell you today. I just said complete it. Complete everything, no empty boxes. Just kidding. Don't put a store code in. So great, Kara. I set up my page. My info's there. I'm live. I got my postcard. I put in the code. Now what? Why did I just spend a bunch of time making this page? Well, of course, we know first off, so people can find us. And one of the most useful tools with your Google business page, when I mentioned that we're looking for restaurants and salons, we're looking for information so we can contact them. And we're looking to make sure that other people have enjoyed their time too. So that's going to be testimonials and reviews. Google makes it incredibly easy to request reviews from our clients. They actually give you a code to send out to your clients, whether that's a text, email, you could embed that into your website, and it will ask them for a star review, an option to write a review, and an option to add a photo. How many of us here, when we have a closing, we do a under contract or just closed photo with our clients? Yes? If you're not, I highly recommend it. What you can do is have your client be the one that takes that photo and have them share their experience with the world about you on your page. The level of business that would rather come from people sharing how much they enjoyed working with you versus I talked to somebody who said that you were great and you wrote, thanks so-and-so for saying I was great. That's coming out of your mouth versus out of their mouth. And we know as consumers, we want to trust the overall. We want to hear about how other people in similar situations experienced service with you. So I recommend, if you don't already, in your transaction process, from the time that you go under contract to close, find a place in your system where you are going to ask for that review. Of the people here, question, yes, we're doing this. Heads up, yes, maybe so. If you are doing this, are you doing it at closing? Are you waiting until they get the keys to the house and then asking for that review? We'll call that a yes. So most often in the real estate business, we wait until the closing, right? Because that seems like the conclusion. The final step is to say, hey, I loved working with you as a client. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were of me. I recommend ask at the time that you have a successful clear to close. Because once that you get the keys to the table, you leave the closing table. How many of our clients are off to the races? They've got to move in, they've got to move out, they got to finish the process, they got to make sure their utilities are connected. Leaving a review at that point is oftentimes not top of mind. But when you get to say, we're clear to close, all the financing's done, escrow is ready, we're ready to close, they're at the height of excitement for their transaction. This would be a great time to say, hey, I would love, let's take a selfie, we're excited, we're closing soon. Would you take a few minutes of your time to tell me what you loved about this process? Have them write that review, and you can do so again easily with this link. So what does that look like? So I'm popping over into my Keller Williams Realty Professionals page. Again, I showed a screenshot for editing if I wanted to make sure all of my information here was accurate. The way I like to get to this is I like to go ahead and view on search. What does my page look like when a client finds it? So on the top left here, top left here is going to be my preview. Clients can't see this. But on the right-hand side, we're all pretty used to, if I search for a restaurant or salon or an auto business place, we see this on the right-hand side. We see some photos of the business, the name of it, how many reviews, location, phone number, etc. To ask for reviews, my favorite part here is we get to, over here, reviews from the web. There's a get more reviews button. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh, go ahead.
We had somebody who's watching it on Facebook Live, and she was asking, she said, are you saying that you don't wait until closings to ask for the reviews?
Correct. I like to ask for reviews when we get the clear to close. So we may still be a week, 2 week, 3 weeks out. My goal there is that it doesn't get lost in the follow-up. And by the time that they are fully ready to come back mentally and say, oh yeah, shoot, I forgot to leave you a review. By then, they're moved on, they're into their house, they're settling, they're moved, they're on to the next thing. That's how our brains work. And by then, the review you're gonna get is oftentimes I enjoyed working with them, it was smooth, which is a great review. But when they are in the process and experiencing all the additional pieces of value that we bring, the communication was top notch. I got weekly updates, I got emails, I got text messages. My agent was absolutely crushing it in every way possible. You're more likely to get a more detailed and honest review about the entire process than just, I loved working with my agent. They were awesome. Cool. We like to have those reviews that are a little more detailed, and by asking mid-process, have the chance for us to catch that little piece of their brain before they're entirely moved on to the next best thing. That was a great question. Any other questions on that process?
I don't see any so far.
Thanks for stopping me. I told you I'm guilty. I sure will talk until I'm blue in the face if given the opportunity. So going into that requesting the review piece. So I went ahead again and viewed my business page on search and clicked that get more reviews button. From here, it's going to ask us how we want to do so. It gives us an easy way to do email, WhatsApp, or Facebook, partially because Google has that relationship with them. Or you can go ahead and copy this link. It's got an adorably cute little copy button here. Now, I like to do this in a few ways. I oftentimes may have a conversation with somebody and say, hey, I'm going to send you a link. If their preferred communication method is email, I'll talk to them, let them know I'm going to email them this. And I would love to have them go ahead and complete this as soon as they can. If there's somebody who are fully a texter, you can absolutely text this code. It's actually personal opinion. I think it's easier to leave the review on your phone because it's easy to attach the photos that are already on your phone if they're looking to attach we're taking a selfie at the clear to close stage, or if they are getting it at the closing table. If they have that photo, they can absolutely add it. Something else you can do, let's say you are doing today is the first day that we set up our Google business page, but you've closed 40 deals over the last 2 years. And you go, I was not asking for reviews. And you'd like to do go back and kind of retroactively say, I'm going back and connecting with people who I close with, love the experience. I am asking to have you share your experience about how it went, how I could improve, what was amazing with the world. Here's a link for you to do that. You could do that through a wonderful email blast, whether through your just regular email application. I prefer there is a wonderful template in KW Command in the emails campaign section that is for requesting testimonial reviews. And you can drop this link in here and slap that baby out to your entire database. So it's super, super slick. Again, your preference here, you can customize how you want your experience to be in asking for those reviews. Any questions so far? All right. After the testimonials piece, something we like to look at doing too is, again, this is kind of feeding the Google algorithm. I know sometimes I get into the algorithm conversation. We're like, yo, I'm not techie, not my jam. The cool thing is we kind of get to trick Google into pushing our page and our results higher up on the page by doing one thing that Google really likes. When I say Google, I'm kind of thinking of the Google algorithm. I'm just going to continue to call it just Google as a whole entity. We can kind of trick Google into putting us at the top of the page, which normally you'd have to pay to do, by doing the one thing Google loves, which is keeping people on Google. Google itself loves people to be on its platform. And one way to do that is by sharing content that keeps them on Google. Ways we can do this is through posts. And I don't think many people realize the ability we have to share posts the same way we would maybe on Facebook. These posts can be just closed. So if you're posting on Facebook a just closed or an open house that's coming up or a market update post, these posts can go on your Google business page as well. I exceptionally love if you're posting events, because not only when someone searches, Karen Nosal Realtor, they're looking to try to get a hold of me. People will search, and maybe here we've done it before. What is there to do Saturday, Fergus Falls, Minnesota? That might be a Google search I have. What's going on? I'm bored. What can I do Friday night? When we post an event, maybe open house, maybe an event about your Red Day event coming up in 2 days, we're able to have Google include our event in search results for what's going on near somebody. So you got an open house, you got an event, you're doing a buyer class, you're doing maybe a reverse fold 100. Any of these things can be events posted on Google to get people on your page. And the more people who are viewing your photos, viewing your posts, viewing your events, tricks the algorithm to say, this person is bringing business to my platform, so I'm going to boost their platform, even though we're not investing any money into Google Ads. It's one of my favorite ways to trick the system. The other way we trick the system, I mentioned earlier, and then the example, I used a 13-year-old kid messing with our business by messing with our info. People who are reviewing Google businesses online regularly get points and become Google local guides. Now, Google local guides, which really sounds like a tongue twister if I had to say it myself, are people who are prompted to review different pages. Your Google local guide account is tied to your email address. If you tie it to the same email address that you made your Google business page with, by keeping people on the Google platform looking at your reviews, you again trick the algorithm into boosting your Google business page with no money invested. Now, what again this looks like, how many of you here have had the most amazing meal at a restaurant, taken a picture, went 5 stars out of 5 stars, loved it, amazing, service was great, had a great time? Yes? Yeah, we've all done it. We're like, heck yeah, I want everyone to know about this amazing place. When we do that, while logged into the same email that we made our Google business page, as other individuals on the internet see our review, or on our content, our photo, our review, the Google algorithm is slowly but surely boosting our business page. It's one of my favorite tricks in the book. We're already out there. And as local experts of the community, the more we have our name out there, doing positive reviews for other small businesses, other businesses in the community, we only create more and more of a win-win opportunity to have our name out there, free advertising, while not only boosting our business page. Any questions on what we covered so far? Short and simple. I got a couple things here to review. So our big takeaways of what we're going to want to do today. If you haven't already set up your Google business page, I want you to go to google.business.com. You're going to go ahead and enter your name, that you're a realtor, the brokerage that you're with, or a team name if you are a part of a team, and go through and complete as many fields as possible so your information is as complete as possible to increase your visibility. I want you to take some time in your calendar, plan for how often you want to post to your page or to update the information. And I'd like you to ask for reviews and testimonials, whether at closing, at the clear to close section, or even retroactively for anyone you hadn't asked previously. A note in here, I didn't put a 4th one in, but if you would like to take it one step further, going ahead and while you're going about your regular life, keeping a little nugget in the back of your head that if you do some positive reviews for other businesses in the area, you can boost your own Google business page, creating that win-win for the other business and for you. Any questions on this? Who here is going to be taking this class and leaving it and setting up a Google business page? Love it. I love some hands. Is anyone here surprised by how simple this process could be? I'm seeing a little head nod. I think that's my favorite question. Back to the story when I would get asked, hey, how do I get front page? If you were simply to Google, like, how do I get front page on Google? Some of your top results are going to be investing in Google Adwords. Yes, you sure can do that, but I am cheap. I'll put it out there. I don't like spending money. I don't have to, especially when something that could take me so little time can have such amazing results. And again, creating these win-win opportunities in my community, I will absolutely any day choose a free option over burning some cash I don't have to. I'd love to hear any ahas, any questions, any thoughts we have about this process.
I have a question. As a very new agent who has not had any sales, what things would you put on your Google business page to I guess, entice some clients to trust you? You don't really have much.
That's an absolutely wonderful question, Tanya. So as a new agent, we have some ability. Oftentimes, I like to use the kind of spinning out the conversation of, as a new agent, I have more time to dedicate to my clients. So I'm using my extra time to curate content for you. How is the market doing? Get really deep down in there. Neighborhood updates. You can also even post about other community ongoings. So what I like to do is find other Google events, share them to your Google business page. Do you have any agents in the office who are hosting open houses who would like a little help marketing them? Go ahead and market for them if they're not doing it already. I also like to share again, if you are out and about community, getting people to see your name as a regular reviewer of other community businesses, small businesses, things like that. Get your name to create the beginning of that top of mind. So when somebody sees you and they go, Tanya, you're the lady who loves the coffee place down the road, right? You're like, absolutely. As somebody who really invests in our community, I want to make sure that we are loving on all of our businesses here. And love to help you as your community real estate expert. I love the idea as a new agent, you have this wide open road to create your brand and use the tools like these to help you in organically letting people find you online with the brand that you want to tell.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, honey. I realized, did I answer your question or did I talk?
You did.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole had a great question. I had misspoke and said google.business. It is google.com/business. So it should be here if I were to, my other way to do it, if you're at just plain old google.com, and I realize I am a dark mode user, bright lights, I can't do it. Gotta have the dark background. But over on the right-hand side, we can normally go to Gmail, images, with a little 3x3 menu here. You'll notice here, one of these items here is business profile. That's going to take you to your business page, which I realize is now actually just business.google. And the last time I changed it, I taught this class, it did change. Business.google.com, easy peasy. Thank you for that clarification. I'll drop that in chat here.
One thing I would say, I know you mentioned like doing the reviews to kind of get your name out there. That really does work, especially if you're working with the smaller businesses or like nonprofits in your area. I wasn't trying to get my name out there or anything like that, but there's just this nonprofit that I really like that has like fair trade stuff. And I wrote a bunch of reviews for them on like Google and their Facebook and stuff like that, just because I really like them. And then I went to go check out at their store one time and they were like, you wrote those reviews, right? And I couldn't believe that they like recognized me. I mean, it helps that I'm a redhead, but I do think that like getting your name out there in such an organic way and it gives back to those people, like they will know you and then you'll be connected to them. And that can start a conversation of like, oh, by the way, I'm in real estate. And then maybe they can start recommending you to other people by word of mouth. So I really think that what you said, that's really powerful and I've seen it happen. So it's really cool.
Thank you for sharing. And to be honest, that's so close to, for anyone here who has taken Bold before, and we talk about kind of a yellow pages exercise, which is connecting with local businesses and developing a relationship where, let's say I do call a local salon of mine, and if I have anyone in my sphere that's looking for a local salon, I'm going to refer them to this business. And my hopes then that I create this relationship that they refer business back to me. Doing this through Google Business kind of allows us to do so in a virtual space. And I love that you shared that. I've done a lot of reviews. I can't say personally and honestly that anyone's been like, hey, it's that lady. I gotta do a better job is what I'm finding out.
I think because that one was so small, it's just like their community was small enough. But honestly, it's worth it still because, you know, even if it's just a really tiny community, people know a bunch of people. So it would be worth it.
That's what real estate is. It's all about who you know, the people that know you, like you, and trust you. Something I will send out again, just so we can share some resources. I have a wonderful one-pager checklist of everything, best practices, and all the fields that you should be filling out. I also have some additional information for anyone who wants to dive a little bit deeper into the geeky side of how the Google algorithm works and how we can trick it. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I always love to include it as a resource for those who want to dive a little deeper into maybe that Google guide piece to really get Google pushing your business for you at no cost. Last but not least, I want to give you guys a little bit of your time to maybe sit back, take what you learned today, build out your Google business page. I'll include my contact info in there. I'm always happy to answer any questions if you have them. And speaking of testimonials, I, as also, would like to know how I do, as I am striving to continue to be a better trainer. So I've got a little note in here. If you have your phone and want to scan this QR code, and I'll include it for Facebook too, I'd love to know how I did, how I could be better. Please do comment about the fact that I talk too fast. I know about it and I'm working on it. But I'd love to know what I can do to improve or what I'm doing well so I can continue to get these classes a little bit better. Any last thoughts, ahas, questions?
So Kara, I do have a question, and I apologize because I've missed like the first 10 minutes or so of the workshop. But the question that I have is when you're setting up your page as an agent, right?
Mhm.
And you're trying to, you put your address in as your market center address,
Mhm.
but you have to request access, right? Because that address is already associated directly with that market center, correct?
So you'll usually get a pop-up and it will ask, is this business associated with insert business? Because sometimes it'll be on the agent's page, sometimes it'll be the market center page. Go ahead and click no on that pop-up. You
Okay.
absolutely can have multiple businesses at the same location, especially if we start to be in big cities and you get a large building with 20, 30, 40 different
Right.
businesses in it. That's a fantastic question. I should definitely include that here. You are in the same building location and you don't have your own suite numbers, anything like that. It's going to potentially give you that pop-up saying, are you associated with insert name? I get that here. One of the first Google business pages at my location, I am at a business center, is a team, and his name's Ryan Hansen, and he has a fantastic Google business page with tons of traffic. So when I created my page, I got the pop-up, are you associated with Ryan Hansen Homes? And I went, yes. I wasn't reading and I moved too quickly. That turned into a whole thing where I accidentally claimed his business and I took over his page for about 6 months. But that's a fantastic question. He did not appreciate it, surprise, surprise. But we were able to get that corrected. So when it pops up, you can click no, and it should let you continue on to the next step to send a card. If you have a DFI or an office coordinator at the office, I often recommend let them know that you're looking for a card that may have a code on it for you. And when they get that code, they can send it to you. They'll log into Google Business, it'll say verify my page, and you'll type in that code for it.
Right. That code is mailed to you, correct?
Yep, it'll come to you as a postcard to the office.
Okay. Got it.
Absolutely. I usually, we get them here pretty regularly for our agents. And like I said, if you know ahead of time that it's coming, your DFI can oftentimes send you the code. So you can on the go just quickly verify your business.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
That's a great question. Anything else I can dive deeper into? Well, that sounds good. Thank you guys again. I'll leave it on my little how I can do better page. Again, I'll include my information to be sent out. So if you have any questions, my little one-page cheat sheet, as well as those kind of geeky, diving a little deeper algorithm things. Thank you guys again so much for the opportunity to come in and share with you a little bit about what I know for Google business pages and how we can use them to help our business. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye-bye.